Now, come to me why in Kabbalah, Sifra Kabbalah, they use the Lashon Shefa when you get Hemshech Zalkus and elements. This Masel Musik of Shefa is that the Hashpa, the Inyan, the Dover Anishpa, the Inyan that's being given over from the Mashpia to the Makabal, the Makir to the Makabal Min HaMakir is in a way that the Inyan is Mishtana. That a muhuz dover from the makar means a part of the substance of the makar is now invested in a new place in the makam makabel. So in order for the Inyan, the way it is the makar is higher than the Inyan, the way it's nirgash, the way it's miskabel by the makabel. So in order for the Inyan to be to go through that shinui, that the Inyan should be mislabish, it should be masim, it should be able to be miskabel by the makabel. So there has to be a tirda. It's not going to happen by itself. By itself, the Inyan stays the way it is originally, the way it is in its ideal state, the way it is in the makir. In order for the Inyan to be mishtane and to be masim in a way that it should be niskal by the makabel, it has to go through a whole hashbas. So there's a tirda and b'shas the mashpia is being mashpia. He has to now zoom in. He has to relate to the makabel. So at that time, he's not the way he is ba'atzmei. And then Kudas Advarim is that. So that's tirda, and the shina is ma'irach and kama v'kama pratim. And you get to Rav Talmud, that's where he brings a couple. And that's the meaning when he speaks about the Kei Chazrika. So he speaks about that there's tirda, and there's that is mugdar. B'shas the eved, the foot is kicking the stone, so the foot has to be invested in the stone. It's not going to happen by itself. And the Esa's man, he can't do other things, because right now he's. If the regel would stay the way it is in itself, then the Inyan wouldn't be able to leave and to be niskabel in the stone. In order for the Kei Chatnua, the Kei Chazrika regel to be mislabish, to now enter a new phase and to go into the stone, so it has to be brought to this new phase. So b'shas the regel is focusing on and throwing the stone. The regel is not the way he has been claiming. And then when you get to Rav Talmud, there's massive more pratim. There's shini and there's tirda, and the Rav has to be about peil. He has to think about the klei makabel, the klei talmud, and to find the aces which are masim to the klei makabel. There is ma'irich and etach pratim. Yeah, well, so now he speaks that there is such a inyan also. Pia now yuva mashnik about nachikr misim shef who beloshna mekubalim beloshna chassidus b'shem islapshus. Same nekuda of shef as nekuda of islapshus. Islapshus is that the Elyon is nimshach to the tachten in a way that he relates himself. He's mislabish in the tachten. The same nekuda. Say the musik of islapshus is that the davar hamalubush, the thing which is islabish in the lubush, comes lefi erech halabush. That's the musik of islapshus. Leumas in Chassidus of the islapshus is leumas makif. Makif is that the Elyon is mashpia not in a way that he suits himself to the makabel. The Elyon stays the way the Elyon is, and Afa B'Kein is mashpia. That's the dugmei say ben Chassidus is ben get to ratzin. When a person wants something, let's say, to move his hand, so the ratzin, the tnu of ratzin, the tnu of wanting, is not mislabish. How does the ratzin affect the yad? So the ratzin is not mislabish, that he suits himself. The Keich HaRatzin is suiting himself to the yad, and the Mela he's nirgash and he's pale on the yad. A person wants to move his yad. The Ratzin always stays a will. He wants to move his yad. Ketitzav, the fact that he wants to move his yad, he's going to go move his hand. So the Ratzin is not mitzamtzim lefi erech hayad. You don't see there's no Ratzin mitzumtzim in a way that the yad should be a keli to the Ratzin. Ratzin stays the person's will. Always stays in the mohos of Ratzin. That's a sibah that the yad's going to be misnaneh, but it's not mislabish in the yad. Mashiach in Chassidus, you bring the dogma of Rikod, or a person that's learning the skill how to write, that's in of Seichel. But the Seichel does not mitzaveh the Yad to write. In order for the Yad has to learn the skill of writing. So the Seichel is pale, and that's a tnu of Islapshus. That the Inyan is pale on the Yad in a way that the Yad is mekabel in himself, and he becomes a keli to that skill. So how much of the Keich is mislabish in the Yad, according to how much the Yad is able to handle. That's Islapshus. So the Inyan is mishtane lefi erech halavush. So mashlikum lashon achikum l'shem shefa b'lashon hakabalim lashon achsidus b'shem mislapshus. Inyan ha'islapshus hu sheguf u'muhus hadavar mislabish. Muhus hadavar means the substance of the makir is mashpia. Yeah. So avadi, we speak about islapshus. that's Abzan Klar. When you speak about that, they say seichel is mislabish in the meich. The way that seichel is parallel in the meich is not beifim makif. It's not like ratzin, that when a person wants, the ratzin is not mislabish. He doesn't suit himself. He doesn't. He's not lefi erecha yivar. I want. The tunos ratzin is the same tuno always. Mashegim seichel, seichel mislabish in the meich. So if the meich is more mizdachich, so then he's a keli to understand the keich haseichel could be more mizgal in the meich. The more the meich is mezuchich, the more the keich haseichel is mizgal. Because the seichel is mizgal lefi erech hameich. The seichel is mislabish in the meich. How much the meich is able to contain the seichel according to fidakas hameich. So in that eifin avada the seichel, the keich haseichel kumei shula atzmei. The meich is not a keli to the entire keich haseichel. So the keich haseichel kumei shuhu mufshi. That's higher than the meich. But leidach, what does the meich get? A little percentage of the keich haseichel, which is the fi erech mislabish in the meich. So mislabish is that guf umuhus adavar mislabish. But when we say guf umuhus adavar mislabish, so on one hand we're saying there's a mile in shefa that it's a little bit of the substance of the inyan is mislabish, but leidach only the amount he's mislabish. Mislabish means that he comes to fi'erech hamakabel. So only according to the amount that makabel is able to handle. But the alien, which the makabel is not able to handle, that's not mislabish. That's kum tishans to the makabel. Mashal Rav Talmud. So on one hand the Rav is explaining to the Talmud his svara. So the Talmud is understanding the Rav's svara taka. But is he understanding it the way the Rav understands it? The svara, the way it's understood by the Talmud, is in a lower degree than the way the Rav understands it. So it's a gufam husadavar, but a gufam husadavar the way it's in a tunu of eslapshus, in a makabel, not the gufam husadavar the way it's mufshit. You have to remember these two tzavas. Now the Rebbe Nishma said as inyan eslapshus shaykh bekeches chitzenim. So the inyan of Islapshus, what is the ultimate Islapshus that he's saying here? The Gemara brings Keich HaZrika, that have a Keich HaNefesh being Mislabish in a Metzias outside of the Nefesh. He's being Mislabish. He's leaving the Makir, and he's investing himself. And he's Mislabish in a Dover Shemichutz La Nefesh. Al there's going to get the Tzir V'Ksiva. A person Mitzayir a Tzir, where a person is writing something, so he's writing a Dvar Seichel, he's writing a certain inyan, so his Keich is now in you say zooming into and he's investing himself in a davar shim b'chutz. Such an inyan is dafka keches. He says keches chitzenim. Keches that in yonim is not gilei nefesh. A kech which his inyan is gilei nefesh. His inyan is to bring out the nefesh, so that can be menatic himself from its makar. Keches that kechatnu in yonim kechatnu is not to reveal the nefesh, because then he won't be able to be expressed in a evan. Evan is not a keli to nefesh. So if the whole thing of kechatnu was the hergish hanefesh, the gilim husa adam. So the evan is not a keli to gilim husa adam. So keiches, which their main function is gilei hanefesh, they always have to stay dovuk. They always have to stay bekiruv to the market. So they can't detach themselves from the market. Keich hazrika in yani is to affect a davar shim b'chutz. It's a keich hitzeni. It's a keich which in yani is not to reflect the milas hanefesh. It's a keich to affect things from b'chutz. So since in yani melchatchila is not revealing the nefesh, but it's chatchila davar chitzeni. The chatchila it's a keich to affect things outside of him, so it's able to remove itself. It's able to change a phase and to detach itself from the nefesh. But he says mash'eken higher keiches. So even in Yona of Seichel and Midis, in Yona of Seichel is not stam as it's a svara. Keich HaSeichel person is not stam is an instrument that a person has to understand things. Keich HaSeichel is mimaylis ha'adam. And the function of Keich HaSeichel is, be'ikra is, to bring out, to be mashal in the nefesh. So inyana is to be connected to the person, not to be detached. So those type of inyanim, which inyanim is that the nefesh is mohus should be nizgala. So the musig of detaching itself and to fully invest itself in something else is not shaykh. Dafka b'keich chesem. With that klal b'keich sagluim the seichel midis. Oh, this is me doing it. B'chlalos, see the shleim was in a slapshus. You have dafka and lower inyan. But you have, if in klali, you have the musik of Islapshus, not the Islapshus in a davar chitzeni, like Bezrika, that is mislabish in a evan, but the klal is in a Islapshus. The idea of a kayach not being kameshuhu, the way it is originally, being able to be melubash in a makabel, sechem is need of a makabel which is always davuk tit. It can never be mislabish in a davar nifrat legamri. But you have seichel the way it is in the kayach. The makar, and you have seichel it's mislabish in a makabel. What type of makabel? A makabel which has some relation, which is bekir of a nefesh. So, but this Chlolus in a slapshus you have only in that it's also in that even of a slapshus, only having keches a glim of seichel midas. He's going to say later. Shaking Ratzin Lamashal, there's no musik of slapshus. Let's see. He says like this. Let's see first the thing that he brings. Where do you see the musik of slapshus of keches a glim? You see that when Negea 2. And just to explain this point, why taka do you have the musik of slapshus dafka v'seichel midas not by Ratzin? Because seichel midas are mitzias outside of the nefesh. Seichel is a mitzias. It's not the nefesh itself. The nefesh uses keich seichel to understand. It's not the person himself. There's the muhusa nefesh itself. That's my nefesh. That's the person himself. Say the eye itself, and then there's the keich to understand. The ikar in yoni of keich seichel is for the sake of to be mishar is the nefesh, to bring out milas and nefesh. But the pel it's a mitzias. Keich seichel is a mitzias. Midas ha'ava is a mitzias. So there, since it's not mu'uchad with the klolos hanefesh, in Yoni is not the etzem hanefesh, it's able to change its mode. It's able to be in the slabish and amakabel. It's able to be mishtani. It's a mitzias. It's a mitzias of seichel, mitzias of midas. So there, it's not the pshitas hanefesh. It's a certain mitzias. So it's shaykh to say that it's mizlubish and amakabel, and when it's mulubish, it's not the way it is ba'atzmei. Mashik and Ratzin is the gilei hanefesh. Ratzin is the person in general wants. Who wants when a person wants something? The I himself. The Adam B'chlolus wants. So that's a Tunor Klolus. That can't be mislabish. You can't have a little bit of the eye. You can't have a little bit of the entirety of the nefesh. When someone wants something, you don't say that my mind wants. The person is drawn to something. That's Ratzin. Ratzin is that the Klolus HaNefesh is nimshach to something. That's the Mahus of Ratzin. Since Ratzin is not a Keach Prati in the nefesh. If it's a Metzias Pratis, the same way Seichel is a Prat, you could have a Prat of Seichel. You could have a little bit of Seichel. Ratzin is no little bit. It's I want. So there's no. If it's I, it's the whole I. There's no a little bit. Seichel is not I. Seichel is ratchila keach in the nefesh. There's no such a thing a keach of Ratzin. Ratzin is that the person is drawn to something. I want. There's no keach of Ratzin. If there was a keach, a metzias of Ratzin, then you'd be able to be mechalikit, and a little bit can be neslabish and mekabel. A svara is not the nefesh, so you can have a svara that Rav understands the svara, the Talmud can understand the svara. Not the way that Rav understands it, a little bit of the svara. But Ratzin, you say you can't, you could give over to a person a svara, let's say, or two people can understand the same inyan, but two people can't have the same Ratzin. Even if two people want an apple, but the Ratzinis are different. This is that Reuven wants an apple, the Shimon wants an apple. It's not the same Ratzin and each one has it. If two people understand the same, have the same opinion, it's the same opinion. Here, the opinion is a metzias. Reuven understands it and Shimon understands it. They both understand the same thing. But Ratzin is saying we both want the apple. But the want is Seva Zundar Ratzinis. Reuven's nefesh is drawn and Shimon's nefesh is drawn. So Ratzin is not a metzias outside of the nefesh. Ratzin is the fact that the nefesh is nimshach to something. So I could have a little bit of it. There's no musik of slapshus. He says. So the chlolus, the musik of slapshus only shayches by metzias, inyan prati which is mechutz la nefesh. Keres haglin. Here he's mefaret. So we don't have the ifn of a slapshus like by zrikas and by tzir, where the nefesh is mislabish and metzias shim bechutz himenu. That's the ultimate slapshus, the ultimate hataka. That you leave the original place, you don't have that by Seichel Midas. Because the evidence is not a Keli to Nefesh. If it's not a Keli to Nefesh, since Seichel Midas in Yonim is that they're in Yonim Nafshim, Keches Nafshim, so they can't be mislabish in a stone. But you have the Indian of a slapshus within in Yonim which are Kelim to Nefesh. Those bring to Eris. Kumay, Shamidis mislapshim b'dibur machshava. So they're mislabish in the dibur. If it's slapshus, it's b'dibur api pasha. To where do you see? Where is the bita b'chitzenius of the fact that midas are melubish in dibur? Who slapshus are killed b'dibur? Shakil may have a laliv. So the kail is the gili aliv. The person has a regesh b'libay. The kail is not a look at stam chitzenius the gazach, but the kail is the expression of the leaf. Pasha, the hevel kail comes from the leaf, but inside because b'pnimius, the kail is the gili amidus, the gili alif, and the kail is melubash in the dibur. So there, the kail really is hevel alif, and when a person speaks, so there's no asis. There's the kail melubash in these asis. The asis is the kail is mitzuyer in the tzir of aleph, beis, gimel, dalet. So the kail is mitzuyer in these asis. And what's the mahus of the kail? The mahus of the kail is the gili halef. About a person can make a noise even in sleep, which don't come from a midah. But technically speaking, you can use your hevel alev without a. But b'amitis hadvarim, the hevel alev is the hisgalus of the regesh belief. That's when a person when a person could scream if he wants glatt in the water, but that's not. He can use his voice if he wants. But b'derech klal, and the truth is, when a person's mashal is bekas, so it's nizbat in the kail. He doesn't have to make. He doesn't have to. It's a diksachayis. When he's angry and he's speaking, the voice is going to come out in such a ifin. Because the voice is coming from the hevel alev. The lev is in a matzav of reticha. The kail is going to be in a ifin of resicha. V'kayetzu b'zeh. Someone's midas is going to be nirgish in his kail. And the kail is malubish in the dibur, in the asius. So that's that the midas are safkosaf mislabish in the dibur. Slapshus and midas midas are partially the slapshus by dibur. Shakil mehevel alev. Yeah, that's the inza. But dakas yeser, you have also slapshus amida mamish. You have the midah itself. K'meik shemedaber divri avo kai gav neshamida babachon slapshus with dibur shem slapshus olav. Yeah, not only the hevel, the kail, but the regesh gufa. The dibur contains the regesh gufa. The regesh itself. Yeah, the kail that you see bepashtus. But not only the kail itself, but also the regesh gufa is mislavish in the dibur. I mean, it's connected. The kail contains within itself the regesh. If a person is speaking miteich liboy, so the kail is malubish the regesh, and that safkosaf is malubish in the dibur. So in the dibri ava you have the slapshus b'dibur. Shem slapshus b'zeledaber. Yeah. Yeah, there's prat. Yeah, I'm saying one of the idea of medaber divrei ava or divrei gvura. So one of the bituyim of ava is ledaber. It's not stam as a person has a regesh and just brings it into dibur. But one of the expressions of ava is ledaber divrei ava. So the dibur is a keli to the ava. Yeah, this is okay. Shemida bava slapshus b'dibur, shem slapshus ledaber. K'meik nam shachas is machshava, ugam kin b'chinas slapshus. Agam shemachshava m'shitat estamid. So there's no slapshus. I mean, automatically the machshava is m'shitat estamid. There's not davzach nicht arayimton. So if a person, let's say, has an avet or something, even if he's not going to think to now focus his avet to think about it, he's not going to focus. He's not going to say intentionally think about it. Automatically, the machshava is m'shitat estamid. So whatever is going on, believe is going to express itself in machshava without thinking. But he's mechalik. If a person glat azir farchol and tzach, he's not intentionally focusing to think about his ava. He's not intentionally thinking about his ava. But automatically, whatever is going on in the nefesh, that's what the person is thinking about. I mean, machshava is l'vasham yuchet. So if the nefesh is functioning, the machshava is functioning. But even without paying attention, you're going to end up being with your. But he says that's going to be not machshavas mesudaris. A person's stam is daydreaming. He's not focused on what he's doing. The taraim fallen in sein Kopf, kol many zachen, kol many things are going into his machshava, but they're not organized. So masha'inkin, if a person wants to organize thought, he wants to thoroughly think through his ava. So then the regesh ava now is mislabish in the machshava. He's not only using the machshava as an emtzai to figure out his ava, but he wants to be misader his feelings within himself. So in the machshava is malubish his midah. גם שעכשיו נשתת הסתמד לחולי כמי מעצמו. So I'm be'emes that was slapshas amidus lachshav l'harer. L'chein machshavei b'seder v'adrog. Means it's an Indian in the midah. The midah, the mitzad the midah's ava towards the Indian. One of the expressions of the ava is that he wants to think thoroughly through the Indian. Be misader the midah, or a way of expressing the ava is by thinking about it. So then the ava is malubish in the machshav. K'meikinu b'seichel ha'seichel, hu b'chnes slapshes machshava dibur lachshav v'ledaber b'seder v'adrog. So the fact that there's a seder in machshava and there's a seder in dibur, that comes from the slapshes of the seichel in the dibur. So the kapanim sinkeres agluim, there's no such a musik of the slapshes to davar shemichutz la'nefesh. He's not a keli to nefesh, but within Asius, which are levushim, so they're kelim to nefesh, but they're not the kemidah, they're not the regesh. So there you have a musik of the slapshes, but that's only in keres agluim. The Asius contain a certain percentage of the ava. Avada the keich ava is much greater misadatz. Because some musik of slapshus, but not in the davashim bechus. Ava l'mayla b'keich sagluim in the shaykh slapshus. He says, "K'mei keich harotzen inim chinas slapshus." Even though the rotzen is pale, like I said before, why is not shaykh slapshus? Because it's not a mitzias. Because rotzen is the entire is the I wants. So it's doch nicht scheicher sagen a bissel. It's not scheicher to say slapshus. It's a metzias. It's a metzias which it's in yanam nafshi. It's not like keich hazig is not in Indian nafshi. So okay, mislabish na even. You kind of have an Indian nafshi in a stone.
There's a difference between Midas and Seichel and Machshava.
For sure, machshava is oisius, and seichel is the havana. Seichel is the tfisa. Machshava is just you're using oisius to organize the Indian, but the understanding,
I'm asking, is there less established in Seichel when Seichel?
Machshava is more than dibur. Machshava is more than dibur, but the machshava can't contain the whole keich seichel. That's the machshava. The point is, if you say the machshava lapels a levush. If it's a levush, it's not. It's not the ganze Indian. So give me a part of the someone has a midah before, let's say, he organizedly thinks about it. So the midah, the way it is, before focusing on being malbishit in machshava, put it into words in your mind. So the midah is not concrete. You have a regesh without any. When he thinks about it, so he's talking about a focused thinking, not stam as a. So then the midah gets organized taka. But the machshava is not going to contain the whole dispashtus midah kameshu before the slapshus machshava. Is afshalotzen peil gam ken dibur machshava? Says as will get to reden, aber nur einfach beginnen sibel about, leib beginnen pole be slapshus. Yeah, if someone speaks, you can't sense within his voice the ratzon ledaber. You can sense the midah. If he has an interest, you could sense the interest. That's already midas ave, but. The I want, that's not nirgash in the dibur itself. That's the sibur for the dibur. But in the dibur alein hat man es nicht. Leib von das Pol bis abschluss. Lechen hat dibur machshava shadei ratzon eni v'seder b'adrog. Dibur machshava shebekavana hi mesudar. Aber the ratzon eni mesudar. V'hainu v'she'eni ba b'chinas eslapshus. Kim b'chinas sibur levad. Okay, that's what it is. So the same way we find when you get to the nefesh, al derez says l'maylo. You have the spheres that zilus. So chachma is it's in yanim elikim. It's kaviyachol mailas and punkt is if you say when you get to the nefesh. Seichel umidis are keiches elikim, are keiches nafshim. It's not the muhusa nefesh. It's a mitzias keiches of the nefesh, but it's keiches which are not nafshim. But mela, since they're keiches, they're mitzias. They're a certain Indian prati, so they can be mislabish. You could have a little bit of them. Otherwise, you have the mile. Chachma datzulus in Yani is the fact that it's the Eibish's chachma taka. It's a keich haliki, but it's a likur the way it comes in a tzir of a keich haliki. You know, chachma and bina. So there's the musik of a slapshus. Chachma lamata shaykh was a slapshus be'elamis. V'nimshach b'zeh mahus ha'ari. You say you have chachma. Actually, you say that in the world there's chachma involved. The Eibishter in the bria se'elamis is certain. There's a chachma in the bria. The whole seder of how things work together and a ganze Zach. There's chachma. That chachma is because the chachma lekis, the Eibish's chachma was mislabish, and a little bit of it was expressed in the Yitzira Seilam. There's seichel. There's a chachma in the Isava Seilams. There's a whole skill. There's a whole a chachma amuka when you get to Isava Seilams. On the Yitziras, all the pratim of the Ivarim, the ganze seder bisagate. There's a chachma. That chachma is because the chachma lekis was mislabish in the Metzias Abriya. So the Avad the Chachmei law, the way it is not Natzilus, is Shalei L'Fiyerech, the way it was in Zgali and Elamis. But a mahus, a substance of that Chachmei is Mulubish involved. I can say the person is being malbish is Seichel and Eisius. So the Eisius can't contain the way the Rav understands the Indian Kameshu. But in the Eisius licked a certain percentage, a certain echos of the Chachmei. So there's Chachmei Lekis involved. So that chachma that we're able to sense that in the Bria Sa'ilamis and Sava Sa'ilamis and the Seder of Elamis, that's say a muhus from chachma ilah that's from the chachma from the Sfiras of chachma. The al derech zeh, it's chesed, yeah. Al derech zeh, yeah. It says it starts up with chachma, yeah. I mean, it's a shtashas recheik ma'ed. Al Teves says that it's al derech shleishes alaf mashal, but it still goes up to musik of slapshus. It's a slapshus much more than a regular ravita. Yeah, it's a slapshus. Yeah. The steht das eben, the steht das im Vornisch. Musa. Yeah. Aber the Malam ist Tashlas, but when you speak about Tashlas, says not nicht wie Elukus kommt up is in Kalim, in a Tzir. You see the pshitas of Elukus, that's the Malam ist Tashlas. The pshitas is Kenesh an abyssal. In Yonev, the way Samalim Eshtalshalis is the Gilead Ein Sof of the Eibishter. So what's a little bit of Ein Sof? A little bit of Ein Sof is Ein Sof. There's no, it's not mischalik. A Metzias could be mischalik. In a Metzias is Shaykh Slapshus. In Ein Sof is not Shaykh Slapshus. Because if he's Be'erech HaMekabel, so if the Mekabel is Gvul, and the Ein Sof comes Be'erech HaMekabel, so it's not Ein Sof, it's Gvul. So it's not even a little bit. And if it's him, it's the whole him. There's no half. Imagine Shaykh was Slapshus. Come here in Sabah Seviv Kalam. Shubchina Sibel Avad Leilim. Staka Be'en Arech. So Pisa Yuvan Shkosa Lavas Sham Lekecha Kiyu Chayecha. What's the Pashtus Akra? That Kamesha Adam Ev Chayim Nashi V'Hainu Shalei Tzibis Pashtus V'Gidei Achayis Kamaking Shemiz Ben Shal Kus Machai Ilmis V'Nevrayim V'Yikra Lukus Hari Evis Avaya. That what's the Chayis Ilmis is what comes out through this is bonus. That the Mahus of Welt, that's a Lukus. The Chayis, which is Mlubash and Ilm, is that's a Lukus. And that's the Chayis, so the Ikra Lukus. So let's begin Eva, share Gil Lukus Be'ilm Benafshi. So idea Ava merely be'emes a Lukus begin Benafshi Bechelke Ba'ilm. In Gil Azeo, Mashemerle Mahus Ha'ara Lekis Mamish. Come B'Chay Nafshi. Arei Mashemer Gil Chayis Gufum Mahus Chayis. It says Kiyu Chayecha. So the Eifin Ava is the same Eifin Ava. When you get the Chayis and Nefesh, that what's the he says it was a Yuvan. So I think there's Etach Pratim. Then what's the Vapiz Yuvan? One of the Pratim that he explains over here is that when a person involves Bashtet the person's Ava to his life. The Ava Shalom Lekech Kihu Chayechos. Punkt as if you mentioned Lib Zayin Eigenem Leben. So you should want. So what's the person has a Chukas Achayin? That means the Dugma Tanya that if someone's Rav Mu'una. So he's misaved that chayis nafshi should be when someone's weak and he's hungry or is gemutzet. So he's misaved that his chayis should be in his gala again. He's misaved his chayis again. In the same way, a person could have the same ave that the tshuka that the chayis lekis should be in his gala more involved. Because punktas when you get the chayis and nefesh, the chayis and nefesh, a little bit of the nefesh is malubish begufay. And the tshuka rufta reis, the gilead nefesh, al derech zeh, when you speak about Elokus, exactly the same thing. There's a chayis elemus is mohusa Elokus, which is malubish involved, and through the tshuka to the chayis Elokis, it's getting more of a gilead of this chayis. The same way, but you get to the nefesh.
The chukka is what's mamshach.
He says, "Come here, b'chay nafshi mashmiga." Idea ava merely be'emes Elokus begide b'nafshi b'chelke ba'elam. Das merle Musa or Lekisam. It says it was a Yuvan. So maybe Chay Nafshi. And Mashemer Gila Chayis Guf Musa Chayis. You do a Makam Acher. A Hefish bin Espachas Chayis Beguf Am Shachas Chayis Shadi Cyrus. Shachas Chayis Be'evri Aguf Ushinim Shach Musa Chayis. Means the Chayis itself is in the Evad. The Evad Aguf have life within them. There's Chayis and Hefish there. Aval Am Shachas Shadi Cyrus or Levad. Yeah, the Cyrus are not alive. There's no chayis in the Cyrus. The mahuz of chayis you don't have. That's only a ha'ar of chayis. Yeah. Not the mahuz of chayis. Making about it, kiyu chayecha, shaydi zen nimshach legile chayis eliki. I mean, the chiddush over here is, as Evot Migazak, Parshas Avon is, the Eivish is the source of life, but he's not the life itself. So kiyu chayecha meant that my chayis is elokus. V'chodet zaderech Cyrus. Or Tzadderech HaMaker and Atitzah. The Eivish created the world. It ad's gemacht. But that Hu Chayecha, see, the Chayis itself that you're living from Adas Elukus, B'chore Nisht. His Piz that there's no musik of his slapshus mahus in Welt, that this, when we're speaking with him, and you get this fittest, the Chachman, the Keicha Shalamayim. That's Taka Mislabish in the Nivrayim. So the Chayis, which is Malubish, in every Nivra has Chayis. That Chayis is not created by the Eivish there. It's Mahus Elukus, which is mislabish in the Nivrayim. So Kihu Chayecha Mamish. The Eivish himself, that's not Chayis. That's the Knesh that he's saying. That's interesting. The Nivra is taka created by the Eivish, but the Chayis and Nivra, that's not created by the Eivish. That's Elukus is Elukus, which is mislabish and mitzamtzim, until he becomes the Chayis Adam. Punkt as if we say B'negei Teivarim. It's not that the Nefesh is just from outside being Mechayis Teivarim. The Nefesh itself, the Chayis and Nefesh itself, isn't the Teivarim. It's all different Indian. And that's the Valpiza Yuva. I mean, the Chiddush over here is that the Chayis Sa'adam Hu Chayecha. And the Pashtus, the Tfisa Chitzenis is that it's not that my life is a Lakus. It's Hu Chayecha. The Eibusha created my life. You say not like that. That's like the Randish. Yeah. So in the Guf Mitzias Hanivra is not, we're speaking not about the Chayis Hanivra. The Guf Mitzias Hanivra was created by the Eibusha. Chayis Hanivra was not created. It's Elokus through the way it's Mesamtzim until it's Malubish in the Guf Hanivra. So that's the Nefesh. That's the look. That's Hu Chayecha Mamish. Because it's a slapshus of the Mahus. A little bit of the Mahus Ha'elin is Malubish in the Tachtim.
Chef.
Huh?
Chef.
That's Chef, yeah. Oh, that's yeah. Oh, he says, Amram Zeu, Dafke Barish, we say the Shtalshalos. Yeah, I mean, it could be the same. He says, Kmekin Oba Avdik Yechash Hadei Zen, Nimshal Legila Chayes Leki. He says, Nimshal Legila Musa Ara Lekis Mamish. There's no Chavart. When you get to the Nefesh, so since we're dealing with Slapshus, we're dealing with that Mohus HaChayes is Malubish in the Evarim. So if the Evarim would be, if a Guf is not a Keli to Nefesh. So it's because the Guf is, it becomes bottle to the Nefesh. It's Niskarev to the Nefesh. So through the Ava, Kihu Chayecha, you become a Keli to the Gidui of the Sinyan. Through the Hakor that the Eibush is your Chayes. And the Ava, the Rotzen and the Tshuka to be Mizdabig with this Chayes becomes a Keli, so the Chayes could be more Megillah. Like another prat why the Ashva that he brings it. Ja, Omnam Zod, Afka Bar Seder Shtashalos. Die Shar is Zeiz, but we can just slap just mamish beilams. Umchay we can a Shev canal. Geen bezeh Shayich Hamshachas Amahus mamish. Some slabish. In other words, the alien is miskaref to Welt, to be lefiarach ha'ilam. So if the alien now is miskaref to be suited to Welt, so a little bit of it now is mulubish in Welt. Aber bin es auf Shamal Mishtashlos, Misham b'chinas Saris Levat, Misham nimshach Chayes b'chinas Le b'chinas Shevesh, Ein Zam Shachas Amos, K'meshi Yisbar, it's going to be Mazber. Misham b'chinas Saris Levat. Oh, okay. So that's we'll see the Musig of is going to speak about soon. Ze Yur, Mashim Tzini, Beitz Chaim Gam Kolashon Shef, She'inam Shachas Amos. So the Shaila is, he said in the beginning, Bechal Sifrei Kabbalah used the Lashon And gesagt that l'chodesh and why not Shef? Because Shef has Shinui, Shef has Tirde. So I'm gefunden mit Chaim Yed the Lashon Shef. So then sagt that we're dealing with the Pchinas. Yishtem Shzo Pchinas Hashayachim Leilumis means the Spheres which are L'chatchili Inyan Chitzenim. The Dugmas like I say when you get to the Nefesh that Shef has Shayches by Keiches Chitzenim. Others are saying here the Musik of Slapshus and Olokos. The Shayches are the Pchinas Chitzenis Olokos. But the Dargesh are L'chatchili Shayich Tazulas. But Dargesh, which their Indian is Gilead Elyon, that's not Shaykh to be Mislabish involved. The Bezeh Shaykh Pchinas HaShefa, that Zeh Pchinas HaShefa Le'ilmis, the Bezeh Shaykh in Shefa, the Zokter. Amshachas Musa Arsh, Shabbat Pchinas Slapshus. Aval Madrege Shalom Me'ilmis, Amshach Pchinas Le Pchinas Shefa. So da hebt on reden the Musik of here. Was gibt da beweisen. So ist hin in hu shezor rak ha'ar levad. Le mohus adavar klal. It means nothing of the mohus, of the substance of the Indian is nimshach. What's mer only ha'ar levad. Let's see what it means ha'ar levad. That means that the dover which the mekabel gets has nothing from the mashpia. Nothing of the mohus mashpia. Means a dugma. So the light of the sun, shu ha'ar levad. Means we're dealing with, there's the ability for us to see. The kayach, which, the behirus, the thing that causes us to be able to see what's going on. You have that, the shemesh is a muhus bahir. It's an etzem behiri, it says. Whatever that means, we have no idea what that means, an etzem behiri. But the behirus that we know of is the ability to see what's going on, to make light in the room. The shemesh is an etzem behiri. So there is the inyan behirus, the way it is in the etzem hashemesh, which that we don't experience. Then there's the inyan behirus, the way we're margish it. The behirus is mizgale, it's nimshach in vel, it's nimshach in the world, and where we experience light, the way we experience it. So he says here that the erviziv, the light which emanates from the sun, it's ha'ar levad. Sharei muhus hashemesh atzma einim es bashetes be'elam lahir. So the dugmas, like you said, the difference between the we said before. You brought a mashal gashmi. By mayim, when here, if this place gets wet, here I had a thing of the yam is the makar of mayim. Here the area got wet. How did the area get wet? Because a little water came here. You say a heart of water. If it got wet, only water makes a place wet. And here was water. So from the Kumad of Asr, there's a little bit of there came here. Not the entire yam. The entire yam didn't come here. Only this place stayed sand. A little bit got wet. And say there was before that it was dark. Now it's the Gavarn Lichtig. Who's a Lichtig Ezach? Who's a Behiri? The Shemesh is a Behiri. So he's, let's say, the resource for light. He's a Guf Behiri. That's the Shemesh. And now if it became light here, how did it happen? So a little bit of that Guf came here. Azevat Mugadar Zagin. Avdem Zagin is nicht das. Mohus HaShemesh Atzma Einem es Pashetas Be'edom Lahoyer. The Mohus HaShemesh itself is not in a mode of it doesn't extend itself to shine. The Shemesh stays Kameshu. Ki Mashemei Rak Ha'ar Levad She'en Be'ben Etzem Klal. See what he says here. What we're seeing, what's causing us to see what's Mizgala from the Shemesh. I don't know how you touch the word order in the Sfas Medina. I don't know how you touch in Yiddish either, but array, that's the word order. Huh? Emanation. Because array is but array means the reflections there, the colors. What is ray? I don't know. Anyways, but emanation. Okay. It says, it says, Etzem Hashemesh Behira. What's the Etzem Hashemesh? It's a mohus of Behirus. And it emanates. It's mispashit. But Memela Ha'eru Meir. Umikom Kem Ein B'Me'etzem Klal. The same mohus, what the Etzem is, that's what's mispashit. Since the Etzem Hashemesh, what is the Etzem of the Shemesh? It's a guf Behiri. We don't know what it means. We know the most of the Behiris that we're aware of is to be able to see what's going on. So how you a guf bahir? How you a guf behiri? It's not to see. It's nicht zu sehen was tatsächlich ist anders. It's a guf behiri. But we don't understand what the musik of behiris is without the way we understand the musik of behiris. But it's etzem behiri, and since that's the etzem, so mele when it emanates, what does it project? What project is what it is. It is, and it's like he says, but what's projected is not a muhus. Ema ben etzem klal. It's mein etzem. Since etzem Hashem behira meila eru meir, umikom kem ein ben etzem klal. But the shaila is if ein ben etzem klal, so where does it come from? How could you say a pashta zach? How could something emanate from something else? So it emanates from there, but it's nothing. And it has nothing from the muhus. So how does it come from that muhus if it has nothing from the muhus? We have a shemesh. From the shemesh emanates something that doesn't contain any percentage of what it is. And there's no tnua in the shemesh that's mispashit to cause this tetzah. How does this tetzah happen? You see, the same way you understand that you have water here. And if this is going to get wet, a little bit of water has to go here. If not, what does it mean, the ha'ara of water? The ha'ara of water means the result of water, so that's a little bit of water. One aspect of water. One aspect of water is also an aspect. It's not Ebe ben Etzem Klal. Understand what I'm saying? So Shemesh is a whole different type of Indian. But Shemesh, the vart is, the musik of Eir is, I was saying before, the mashal of the by Shef is when you have something which is a limited entity. See, the Svar of the Beit is better as a limited thing. It only contains what it is. So now, in order, the Svar originally is, in what type of tzir is the Svar? In a tzir just masim to the Me'ech Harav. If you want now the Svara to affect the Talmud, he's going to have to go there. The Svara Kamosh Hu Eitzel Arav is not going to affect the Talmud. It's a limited thing. But what if you have a Mohos that's, even before it's Mitzamtzin, the way it is in itself, it's a powerful thing. I don't know, I just want to bring out the Etzem Indian. So even before it's this, when you have it, it's a powerful thing, it emanates. It makes an impression outside of it. It doesn't have to think to make an impression. It doesn't have to go there to make an impression. The Indian Kamosh Hu Be'etzem is the Chatchila not a mukbodik thing. Is not a square thing. It's nirgash michutz menu. You understand what I'm saying? You understand the idea? that's the yisaid of the musig aver. The yisaid of the musig aver is that what's being mispashit is mitzad it's azam a certain muhus, which even before lowering itself down to the makabel, k'may shehu be'etzem is going to affect, is going to have an effect, because the muhus itself is hatten sich stark. It's not limited that its inyan is only contained within its own dal damas. It's gonna make a reishim outside of it.
Possible not to be mispashin.
Huh?
It's impossible for it to not be mispashin.
Okay, that's what we'll see later. That's the chechach. That's not the nekuda. No, not I'm saying the havana, the musik. I'm trying to say that's a musik. That you have an inyan, but the musik of shefa is when you have something that's the regular things that we know of. The inyan's a limited thing, so it only exists where it is. If you want to affect another place, it has to go there. If it didn't go there, you say you don't have it. What if you have something that lechatchil it's not a limited thing? So it doesn't have to go. It doesn't have to lower itself down in order to affect somewhere else. Lechatchil it's not something that's limited to a certain tchum. But always when you say such a word, it's mechayiv the musik of our levat. I'm saying is like this: if you say seichel is a limited thing, you see there's water, there's a certain amount of water here. In order for the water to come here, a little water has to come there. So then, how did the water come? A little bit water came here. So a little bit, not everything. A little bit came here. Al-Teres you say in Ruchnis, you say the seichel, the way it is by the Rav, is by the Rav. If the in order for the Talmud to understand the inyan, it's not going to have the seichel kameshu etzel Rav is not going to make any ration outside of where the seichel is. So it's going to have to be misamtzim and it's going to have to come to Fi'erech HaTalmud. But what if you have an inyan that the reason why it's mispashit? So by the Seichel L'Poel, when the Rav is Masber Seichel to the Talmud, why is the Talmud understanding this svara? Because now the svara is in a tzir. The mahus now is mitztayer in a tzir that's masim to the Talmud. Now the svara was explained in a way that's masim to the Talmud. So that's the guf is mislabish. The guf of mahus adavar is now in a tzir that's masim to the Talmud. But what if you have something, the reason why, you say the mashal yidavning, the reason why the person that walks by yidavning v'yizdav to zayin was nisayir was not because the tefillah was mislabish. That was let's be mitzayir. The one that's davening is not thinking about people walking by him. If he's going to be thinking about the makabah walking by him and he's going to want to relate his isayirus to affect that person, it's not going to affect him b'chal. That's but the teva. So v'yeter pel geven afem without thinking about it. He doesn't even know this makabel. He's busy with his own dvekas atfila. Because adover amiti has a certain. It's not limited that in this place in his nefesh is marigish avos Hashem. If there's a place that's mere elukus is not mugbal. So there's a yid be'im leichta b'sal sein neshama, it's going to make an impact. So why is it making an impact? The inyan is not the reason why it's making an impact. It's not because the inyan is mitztayer in the tzir of making impacts. The inyan is not about impacts b'chlal. It's a davar amiti. It's a true thing. A davar amiti automatically is going to make an impact. You understand what I'm saying? So is the inyan ever in the tzir of making an impact? The tzir is the inyan is a davar amiti beyond impacting anyone. A davar amiti without being mitztayer and mislabish in the phase of making an impact. If it's a davar amiti, it's going to make a reishim. Because davar amiti l'chatchila is not a davar mukbal. It doesn't have to go there. It's a powerful thing, so it's going to make an impact without going there. But is the inyan mitztayer to make an impact? For sure not. So the impact, if you're looking at the external part of it, you're looking at someone being impacted. It's ein b'min ha'etzem klal. The etzem is not about impacting people. It's a mahus. See, a mahus. If you're a mahus amitis, avada gevis, you're going to impact someone. That's a different inyan. If he's so great and he's not limited, you're saying if something is unlimited. So you say, use the mashal of Shimshon. You have Shimshon Agibur, let's say, he had unlimited gvura. So if you had unlimited gvura, can you break this table? For sure, you can break this table. Does he have to have a power for breaking this table? He doesn't need a power mitzvah. If he's unlimited, he can do anything. Avadi can break this table. What's the question? When we're breaking the table, it's because we have enough power to break the table. Someone doesn't have enough power to break the table. Someone does have. Someone even has more power. He could even break a heavier table. But there's a certain amount of power that with that you can break the table. more than that is not melubash in this pula. Less than that can't do it. When Shimshon and Gibber is breaking the table, with what keach, we are limited. We have a certain amount of power that we have in our hands. A certain amount of power that you have. And b'meila, the fact that you could do this, you have limited power. So you can't say, because I have a hand, the derech hamela I can break it, it's not derech hamela. You have to see, do you have enough keach to do this? Say, yeah, I have enough keach to use it. You use that keach and you can do the pula. Shimshon and Gibber is not limited. He has gvur, he had a getach gvura. He didn't have gvura in Akbala de Kaif. So if you don't have gvura in Akbala de Kaif, his gvura is not mugbal. It's not a davar mugbal. It's beyond Akbala. So you see, if there's no gvul, what he could do? We have not seen what it means. Gvura with Akbalas. We know Akbala doesn't mean very, very big. It means it's not Akbala there. The musik of big doesn't exist. The musik of, it's a different type of mahus. It's the mahus without Akbalas. So if you have a mahus without Akbalas, is he going to be able to do a davar katan? Say avada gevis? Of course, he'll be able to do a davar katan. Why? Because he has an energy which is mitzuyer to this davar katan. He doesn't have an energy which is mitzuyer to this davar katan, but he has unlimited energy. With unlimited, he can do anything. He doesn't have to have a power which suits this makabel. When do you have to have a power that suits? If you're limited, so the only way you're going to affect this is if you have power that suits that. But if you're not limited, if you have the mu'us without agbalas, so then you're not limited. So then you can be everywhere. You can be in all ways. But the question is, but since the reason why you're able to affect this little stone is because you're not limited, so in affecting the stone, does it express anything of the makkah? So affecting the stone is a davar prati. The keich has no shaykhs to prat altogether. The keich is a mahus built in mukbelis. You understand what I'm saying?
What was that part?
What I'm saying is, if you use the mashal of Shimshon Gibber, let's say. So he had, let's say, a gvura likis. He broke dirt in the walls, not because he had enough power beyond of he had the Ebesh's gvura. So Mele, he wasn't limited. So now, let's say if someone sees the gvura. What I'm saying is, when the Gvura is breaking the wall, when he was breaking dirt in Talmudim, does within that pula contains anything of his Keich HaGvura? Does that pula contain a little bit of his Keich HaGvura? That pula doesn't contain anything of his pula, because that pula is davar prati, and this Keich is bligvul, not limited in anything. Well, what affected that pula? A tzimtzum of the Keich HaGvura or the Keich HaGvura Kameshu? The Keich HaGvura Kameshu. But if you look at what the Keich HaGvura affected, it's A'ara Levad. You understand what I'm saying?
Why is it A'ara Levad?
Because it's a prat. And the reason why mitzvah the Elyon you have the Ashpa is because the Elyon is not Mugbal. The Ashpa lapel comes in a tzir of Gvul. But the Yisod for the Ashpa is because there's a Bligvul behind it. So when you look at it from what the Mekabel's getting lapel, you see a Davar Mugbal. But what really, and the Elyon, it's Eimim and Etzem Klal, because the Etzem never came in a tzir of Akbala. The Etzem wasn't mislabish to be behesem to that tzir of Gvul, because the Etzem is not mugbal in a specific tzir. So the Gilui Eimim and Etzem Klal. If you're measuring and you want to see what from the Muhus was Nizgala in this Gilui. So nothing from the Muhus was Nizgala in this Gilui. You see, if nothing from the Muhus was Nizgala in this Gilui, because the Muhus is not mugbal, and the Gilui, the Pu'ula, was Davar Prati. So how did the Muhus cause that Pu'ula? You see, the Muhus is not mugbal, it's a different story. She doesn't have to relate in order for him to affect it. You understand what I'm saying?
But by a regular person, when
you have a certain amount, you don't have unlimited power. You have a certain amount of power.
So therefore,
So now, let's say a person you had a very, very big power, let's say, and you want to crack a table. You say you have too much. The table can't handle so much power. It can only handle a little bit. So you're gonna have to be mitzamtzim it. So yeah, person has too much kayach, and the table, the table is not, the mekabel is not a keli for it. So you won't be able to affect it. You have to be mitzamtzim it. But if you have the inyan without akbalas, I mean, the Rav understands the seichel too much. The Talmud can understand it. So what do we say? But if the Rav understands it so great, automatically, it's not automatically. He understands it in an edel way. He has that version of it. The Talmud, different version. He has to give him the Talmud a little bit. What if the Rav had the Indian with Arak Bolas? So then, If you have the Indian, it's automatically going to be an Alifan. Where's Magbalit? I'm saying that's B'cholos. I'm saying we're a little bit. I'm saying a little bit the extreme of the Indian, but I'm saying the idea behind the Irchaptuf has Indian. Yeah, it's a certain hair, but okay. Let's say it this way, insert it this way. Let's say when you get to Shemesh, for example. Saying we know the whole idea of light that we know of is first the room is dark, and light chases away darkness, and you're able to see what's going on. The Shemesh is a guf bahir. Yeah? It's a guf bahir, etzem bahiri. So the Shemesh, there's light. The concept of light by the Shemesh is that there's darkness and the light pushes away darkness. Lechatchila, it's a guf bahir. I mean, it's darkness. There's no concept of darkness there. There's light. The only concept that exists, let's say, is light. So let's say that we have no idea what it is. Let's say there's a concept of light. There's light that it's not that there's darkness and the light chases it away. There is lechatchila no concept of darkness. Let's say there would be such a mahus. Now we're living in a world that there is a concept of darkness. And you're going to want to cancel the darkness of this room. In order to cancel darkness, you have to bring a light that relates to darkness. Or you say, if light is something which is not makir the whole concept of darkness, Allah has come if you're going to bring it to a room that is dark, the dark is going to be chased away. Why? If we have such a mahus, which legabi this mahus, there is no concept of darkness. So if you're going to bring it to a room where there is a concept of darkness, you're going to bring this mahus there. You're going to have to be with tzamtzimit in order to chase away the darkness. So it's too high. If there's no concept of darkness, it will be in his battle. But someone that's going to, that's going to be, without being misamtzim, it's going to be in his battle. Means in order for this mohos to chase away the Hemshech, he doesn't have to lower himself down to relate to Hemshech, to relate to this mekabel. Legabi this mohos, there's no concept of darkness. So if you bring it to this room, it's going to be expelled. Not because it's going to be expelled because it was chased away. Because legabi this mohos, the doesn't exist. But if someone's going to be looking at what happened here outside, what's he going to see? If someone's viewing it mibachutz, what does he see? He saw there was a dark room, and now it's light. So you're going to tell him, does he have... That's called the art of Avad. The way you see it is not even a percentage of what really happened here. There is no air which in Yoni is to push away darkness. There's no such air. There's no such a light that there's two dargis of light. There's light the way it is beyond the whole concept of darkness. And there's light the way it is as a power to push away darkness. And which version of light do we experience? The lower version of light. See, there is no such a version. There's only one light. There's only a light that legabi this light, there is no darkness to begin with. And b'meila, the darkness went away. But someone that's not in touch with that mohus of light, what did he see here, Lepel? If we're people that we know, by us there is a concept of darkness, what are we going to see? We saw that light chased away darkness. That's what we're going to see. Is there such a light? There's no such a light. Even when I had some cloud. It's not what you're saying.
So he thinks there's a lower level of earth.
If that's the only thing, that's the question. What he thinks, what you're able to see, by you there is a concept of darkness. So what you're able to see is that darkness was chased away. So if you're going to say, I saw a little bit of light. I didn't see the whole. You didn't see a little bit either. There's no such air. You say, but if there's no such air, how did I see that? You say, if the air there's no such a thing made card, avad gevist, it's going to be that Indian also. That's our avad. If you have that Indian, avad gevist, you're going to have the Indian tuffle.
So what comes out is mahus, is
Ba'amitis advarim, means that there's only the mahus of the makir. There's taken no mitzias of a ara. But like the mikabel which is experiencing the air, what he experiences is always going to be ara levad. Because the mikabel which is not the makir, which is gvul, is only going to experience a limited version of what's going on. And that's nothing. Because the mahus which is functioning here is the blik vol kameshu.
But out of all things, it's R that's coming out that tells you something about the R. No, that tells you
What do you mean? I don't know what you mean air is coming out. He says here that the muhus, he's saying how it works begashmis.
You're saying that since the reason why it's shining is because it's bleakable, not because it's trying to shine.
Not because
So
the
therefore
shemesh, not because there's light in the shemesh that suits our tzir. In other words, you see when you get the shemesh, let's say. So we're not able to experience light the way the shemesh is at etzem beauty. It's too much for us, let's say. So how do you understand that to be pashtus? The shemesh in the makir, you have the etzem of the inyan, and we get a limited version of air. We get the eichos of the shemesh in a limited version. It says, then we have you can't say even ben etzem klal. We have a little bit of the shemesh. Saying we don't have what we are experiencing is not the shemesh at all. It's ar levad.
So why is R coming out of the shemesh? That's what I'm trying to get.
So that's what he's saying here, because the shemesh is not limited. It has to be in a tzir of etzem. Because when does something have to be only in the? You say since you're an etzem, you can't be experienced by someone that can't experience etzem. They can experience etzem, but that's if he has the energy of light in a limited form. So you have in a limited form. The people down there can't experience the form the way you have it. So you're gonna have to go through some shunuim. So he doesn't have. The shemesh is not an eichus of light in a limited form. He has the mahus of light beyond a certain limit. And mitzad the takeif of that inyan, even if you have it's gonna affect everywhere around it, because that it is a powerful it. So mitzad its unlimitedness, mitzad its powerfulness, mitzad its takeif, it's gonna have an impression outside of it. You're not experiencing the takeif. You're not experiencing the siba that causes light. You're experiencing the result. The result ain't b'min etzem klal.
So why does Mar cause R?
Because that's not shalom.
If
The shemesh is an etzem behiri, and since it has the inyan of behirus in a way of etzem, which is not a limited form of having something, so it emanates. Whatever it is going to shine. It's gonna emanate. It's gonna shine. It's gonna be meir. Why is it going to be meir outside of it? Because it can't contain what it has. Its eichos is so strong that it can't be contained in a specific place. Automatically, it generates. It emanates. Why is it? Not because it comes to the element of emanation. Not because the light of the sun is misamtzim. It's such a strong, powerful mahus that it can't be limited to be in a certain form. So when you have this mahus, it's going to emanate. So the emanation comes. This mahus emanates, not something else. What I'm saying is by shefa, when the Rav is mitzam seichot Talmud, it's not the takeoff of the svar. The svar of the Rav, only the Rav has it. He lowered it down, and now the Talmud has it. But it's not that the svar as harav it penetrates or makes an impression outside of it. It doesn't shine. The svar sarav doesn't shine. The svar sarav stays where it is. Where it is, whoever's a keli for it, it's nirgash there. An etzem shines, different inyan. Different type of thing. Shines means that. What does it mean shining? What does it mean that it doesn't? It's where it is, and it just generates. It's a leicht. Wie leicht is? Because since the inyan is a mohos, it means it has the quality not in a limited form. So one of the expressions that has the quality not in a limited form is that it can't be contained within its market. It emanates. It's pashtus, yeah. It's part of
We say that's a building of special.
that's something else. That's part of the same word. It's not about making an impression.
It's not limited.
It's not about making an impression. But it can't contain itself. It's a different reason. You say someone sitting at davening, and he's going to be ma'ir yidin tshuva. He says someone that's davening be'emes is not about making an impression. You have someone that his whole thing is to make an impression. He knows that to make a good impression on someone else. Say an etzem also makes an impression, but in Yoni is not to make an impression. He's not in the bechlal that tzir of focusing on someone else. Vibad, he's a mohos amitis. A mohos amitis is not limited. It's a different story.
It's a special. Is a part of. It's not.
Be'etzem, it's a part of. It's not. It's not another mitzias outside of the etzem. Yeah.
Is it correct?
We see spashtus, but Amita saying Yanim, there's no musik of the spashtus really. It's the bleak vol of the etzem. The way we see it is there's the. This is.
Is it correct to say that R is the way the bar exists in the world of Shiur or the world of Mitzias?
Yeah, but
That is just how Mar exists in the world of
Yeah, but it's the Mars hispashtus. It's the Mars hispashtus. It's true. It's the Mar coming in the world of Metzias, but from the Mar's point of view, it's the same Mar. It's not something else. The way we view it, we see that in Metzias it became light. We don't see that it's because there's a mohos which is beyond Metzias and higher than this whole gather.
That's why in Vim and Asa, we think we have we really don't really have that. We think it's a level or to be push away chayzer. No, we don't have the real.
Yeah, or he brings the example of chayis. He brings the next example of chayis. He says the nefesh. See, how does a person feel? How do we sense or experience life? That in actuality we're living. The guf mitzad atzme is meis. The pel mamash we're living. See, is the that's the way we experience it. But mitzvah inyan. Okay, this we'll get to that much. Let's see the. Let's think about a better Hachodesh to the minyan. You get the general kivun of the inyan.
That's what to think about.
I'll give you Rebbe's dugba, even though I don't know if it's zagwe. When you say that you have l'mashal, there is tamazeh mitzias. See a table. See, in the musik of something being present, something being here, or different type. There's we look at everything. Something's here. We don't. It's all the same thing. But there's different. You see the nature of existence, the nature of something being present. There's different types of being. So with what is the table here? What's the touch of the table's being here? It's a technical being. Practically, it's here. It doesn't have to be here. It's not a must for the table to be here. You can take it away as it's technically here. Nothing more than that. See, a class sichli also exists. It's also it's a reality. It's a something which is matzi. There's a cloud that a siba has to come before a mesubah. A cause comes before the effect. Let's say there's a class sichli. If you have one equals two. So that's klal exists, the same nature of existence as a table. It's a siba before the mesubah. The same way, the same type of existence that a table exists, the same type of existence is that a cause has to be before the effect, or it's much deeper. It can't be otherwise. A table it's technically here. You see, by mistake, someone threw a table here. It's nothing more than an accident. There's a table technically here. Mashiach and Shiur for a mesubah, it's not done by accident. It happens to be that the father is always older than the son. It can't be otherwise. It must be this way. If this is the cause, this is the effect that came after the cause. It's not possible otherwise. So so that's like there's a limited being. There's a being that the quality of this being is a limited quality of being. It's here. You could. It's here in a very limited sense. It's here because technically it's here. I could measure the amount that it's here. I can measure it. It's here because technically it's here. But the fact that a siba, that a cause comes before an effect, that's not a limited amount of being. It's not possible otherwise. So it's not a certain. It's not. It's here because of this and this result. It's here. There's no way for it not to be. So that's. It's here. It exists without limits. It's an infinite being. I'm not saying that it's infinity. It's a different type of existence, a different power, a different. You can never eradicate it. Can't be otherwise. You can't measure the amount of how much this cloud exists. You can't take it away. So that's serious. Now you have this. You have someone, ish mevugar, that he understands that a siba comes before a mesubah. It can't be otherwise. He understands the hechrich sichli shebezeh. Then you have a little kid. Every kid knows that a father is older than the son. Even before he's able to understand the logic that a cause has to come before the effect, he sees that the father is older than the son. Before he understands, let's say someone that doesn't have the koyach understand svaris. He doesn't understand the chreichim sichli. Is he going to be able, the same way the table exists, a father is always older than the son. So if someone's going to look in bachutz and he's going to say, a father is older than the son. You say, where does it come from, Taka, the father is older than the son? It comes from the klal sichli. It's not a table. Someone brought the table there. The fact that the father is before the son is because he's the cause. He's the cause. He's before the effect. So when someone doesn't know the klal sichli shebezeh, and he only sees, the reality is, if he's going to go through all the fathers in the world, they're always older than the sons. So he has a chelik of the svara, a little bit, he's starting to understand the svara, or emi ben etzem klal. It's emi ben etzem klal. The same way a table exists. The fact that you see something technically existing doesn't contain anything from the inyan. But le'idach, from the point of view of the svara, why does it have to be mitzamtzim itself? There's the klal sichli that a siba comes before a mesuv, and then there is the klal has to be mitzamtzim to affect that Reuven should be older than his son, and that Levi should be older than his son. Because you say the mitzias of a svara is a whole different type of mitzias. The father being older than the son is a gashmisdik mitzias. Pasha, a gashmisdik person has to be technically older than the son. So in order for this svara to affect the davar gashmi, he has to go through a tzimtzum. He has to go through a tzimtzum. If that's true, so it can be otherwise. But if someone only looks, so the truth is that the effect means the realization of this mahus, of this truth, the realization of this, there's the mahus of Siba comes before a Masuva, then the realization of this mahus, that the father is older than the son. The truth is that from the point of view of the Siba, there is no separate entity as the realization of this mahus. That's the Indian. A Siba, Vu Narmer, that's the Masuva, the Siba is going to be before the Masuva. But if someone only takes the outer layer of the Indian, he just looks at the materialization of the Indian. So Imi ben etzem klal. It's not about effect. It's about a hechrich sichli. You understand what he's saying? So it's not if it's a mugbal de Indian, the table is here. If you want the table to affect there, you have to bring it there. But if you have something that's not stam, it's here is a different type of being here, not a limited being here. So automatically, it's a different type of mitzvahs. There's not a sort of dogma. I'm just wondering at the Indian that you could have the yisod of a mitzvahs. That's the yisod of the Indian. But if you look at it from the outside perspective, then from the outside perspective, what you're seeing is b'chal not what the Indian really is. When you look at it from the point of view of the Indian, you see that the tetzah, that's not something else. That's the Indian itself. Okay, mit proven a bissel efsher klar machen this prat next